Well, switching gears now and talking esports sector for his insights and analysis, Clayton Larkham joins us from PAC Capital here in the studio. Clayton, welcome back.
Thanks, good to be back.
Look, we love investable ideas at the moment. We know that esports is a growing market. We've had you on the program before to go and discuss that. You've got a couple of stocks, 3 stocks, I think, actually, that you've highlighted as ways to go and play this thematic. Skillz is one of those. Talk us through what Skillz is.
Sure. Now, Skillz is a company listed in New York on the New York Stock Exchange. It was a SPAC that happened at the end of last year through Flying Eagle acquisition. Jeff Skansky, who did the SPAC, speak to quite closely, and this company came to the market, $7 billion market cap. You know, and so the areas that I play in, every stock is over $1 billion in my fund market cap. Now, Skillz is a very interesting company. It's been very volatile, you know, this stock, and I'll talk to you about that. It's SPAC'd at $10, went to $50. Now went to $50 a stock. Now it fell back to 12. Now it's trading at 20. Now this has been a wild ride for a lot of areas around our fund. We didn't add it until recently into the portfolio. Now what I like about this company, they're just about to report numbers on the 5th of May. Sorry. I think the numbers will beat expectations. That's why I've added it into the portfolio, of course. What Skillz does is, there's obviously a crossover between esports and gaming. Okay, there's that crossover. So what Skillz does is it takes a game that you might have produced, the developer might have produced a game, and turns it into an esport. So they find a way for that developer and company to essentially make money through monetize it to create a competition. So essentially they run 2 million tournaments a day. 2 million, and and it only listed back into last year. So.
And on the same theme, NASDAQ has TakeTwo.
Yeah, I like TakeTwo. It's a very big company that's been around for a while. In the same theme as Activation Blizzard and EA Sports and Nintendo, it's one of these juggernauts of esports and gaming that's really coming to the fore. And interesting story, what happened in April was they compete with EA Sports with a lot of the real-time games. So they own NB2K, which is the simulation, the online game for NBA. And they've also just launched a new game, which is PGA Golf. Now you might think, cool, this is interesting. EA Sports tried it a while ago, but essentially Take-Two has won the rights. Now that's interesting play. You must think that's great. But during the course of April, Tiger Woods has joined the board of Take-Two. So that's interesting to me.
We'll go and find out whether his online performance is as good as his on-course one there.
Exactly.
But
he's still on crutches, isn't he?
So to go, well, he's got a lot of time on his hands, doesn't he, for the time being? To go and round out the 3 stocks. Now, you've got 2 that are US-based, but there's one out of Paris you've come across. What's that about?
Yeah, Guillemot is a company based out of Paris. It's a spin-off from Ubisoft. That was a game developer based out of Europe. The founders of that spun off and did Guillemot. Guillemot came to the market about 12 months ago now. Now, there's a big misconception in esports and gaming that the multiples don't stack up. You know, like the multiple, you can throw PE out the window, you know, price to earnings multiples, and a lot of other factors don't stack up. Here's a company that does. You know, they're trading on 1.5 times revenue. They announced their numbers end of last week. They grew 167 times revenue from year on year. So their growth is great. They're still 5 to 6 times forward revenue projections. They fit in the line for a traditional company based on our analysis to buy around here. And just to understand what they do is they actually produce the hardware that goes into games. So they produce the joysticks and driving wheels for F1 simulators and flight simulators that go around the world. So
they make things.
Yeah, so they actually make things. Exactly.
Things have multiples.
Exactly, that's a good way to look at it.
So they would have been given a big workout over the course of the year. So Clayton, I've got to go and ask, when it comes to esports, we know that the market's been growing very strongly, and we know that there's been a lot of demand brought forward by the pandemic and lockdowns and the like. Now that we're starting to go and see, a reopening, sports coming back, crowds eventually starting to come back as well, is there enough pie at the moment for esports to go and coexist with actual sports, in your opinion?
Yep, great question. I think they've fundamentally set themselves as a new asset class in sport now. They're not just a byproduct of sport. You see, in a couple of the stocks I've identified today, even TakeTwo, just to sort of tie in a big name like Tiger Woods, tying himself to a company like TakeTwo as a director. There's a lap over there. You've got Guillemot, who are producing steering wheels for F1 simulators and other games, and you've got Lewis Hamilton and other drivers actually buying into F1 teams, simulator teams. So what I'm saying is that I think they're more becoming one now. I think that it's just sport in general, and every sport team sort of has an esport arm. So to answer your question, I think it's just starting in esports, and sport is coming back to life, as you said.
Boys, want to be an F1 champion? Maybe I can still get my wish in time.
There's still chances.
Definitely not in real life, but the virtual world, who knows? Clayton Larkin from PSE Capital, thanks for joining us in the program. Always great to chat.
Thanks
Look forward to doing it again.
Thank you.